People misunderstand money. Most people think money is only about spending. However much money you have in your account, you feel that strong or that weak. I was once on the weak side too. Then I realized that money does not first grow in the wallet. It first grows in the mind. Then it appears in habits. Then it settles into character. Finally, it starts to reflect in the bank account. What we call starting from zero is not like a movie scene. Nobody turns on dramatic music in the background. In reality, zero is a silent stress. It is comparing prices at the market. It is wanting to buy something, but choosing the cheaper one instead. It is knowing where your salary will go before it even arrives, but still fooling yourself by saying, "My money hasn't run out yet." At that level, a person feels that he is poor, not only in his pocket, but even in the small decisions he makes. The advice I could give you from what I lived through on my own path is that first, instead of earning more money, I would strengthen the emotional bond I built with money. Because the biggest mistake made at the zero level is not earning little. The biggest mistake is living with fear, spending with fear, and making decisions with fear. A fearful person either starts buying stupid things he does not need in order to reward himself, or postpones everything, or cannot make any plan at all. Even if such a person earns money, he cannot keep it and starts spending unnecessarily. That is why my first goal would not be to look rich. My first goal would be control. Clearing small debts, eliminating unnecessary expenses, seeing where everything goes every month. Because when a person pays off a debt for the first time in his life, something changes, even if it is small. He understands this. Sometimes life changes direction, not with big blows, but with small moves. As the days go by, for the first time there is real savings. Let's say $10,000. To someone looking from the outside, it may seem small. But for someone who has never held proper money in his hand before, that amount is not just money. That amount is a very big amount of money for that person. For the first time, you feel that you are not completely defenseless. And right here, most people start to let themselves go and experience power intoxication. Because when they catch a little breath, they think they have won the war. But in reality, the war has only just begun. The advice I could give you is that at exactly this stage, I would reduce watching motivation videos and learn real things about money. What is an asset? What is an investment? What is cash flow? What is compound return? How does capital move? Because, after a certain point in life, it is not the one who works harder who wins, but the one who builds the right system. Working is the beginning. Building a system is leveling up. You need to make money work for you even while you sleep. At some point, your salary increases. Your savings grow. Maybe you have a retirement account. Maybe from the outside you look regular and secure. But when you sit down at night and calculate honestly, you see the uncomfortable truth. Great freedom does not come with salary alone. A salary can be a safe cage. It is comfortable, but it is not the luxury of being able to buy whatever you want. And it is not limitlessness or complete freedom. Most people think this cage is a career. That is why they work for years, but do not move forward. They run like a rat, get tired, and only satisfy someone else. The advice I could give you is that at that point I would immediately build a second engine, even if small passive income, a business that runs on the weekends, a digital product, content creation, sales, service, artificial intelligence business models, whatever turns skill into money. Because when income outside of salary appears for the first time, a person's mind changes. He understands this. So the only way out is not the boss. So income is not only the salary that is given. That is the moment when the rules of the game change. Then, as you save money, you start to see the real difference. At the levels of 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, the issue is no longer just saving. The issue is making money work. People think that those at the upper levels live without risk. This is complete nonsense. People at the upper levels do not avoid risk. They only see which risk is worth taking. One investment makes money, one causes loss. Beginners panic in loss. Players change position. That is the difference between them. When you get close to $300,000, money starts to gain character now. It turns into a force that does not make choices for you, but directs you. You understand where it should go and where it should not go. At this level, the greatest development of a person is not the number in his account, but the power to say no. You do not say yes to every invitation. You do not enter every partnership and every job. You do not tie money to every friend's business idea. Because you see one thing clearly. A man who tries to please everyone cannot build money and capital. Then one day you reach $1 million. In people's eyes, this is a great peak. But let me tell you the truth. 1 million is not the end of this story. It is only the first serious sign proving that your system works. Most people think this number is freedom. But freedom is not simply having a lot of money. It is the increase of the things you no longer have to do. That is exactly where real wealth begins. If I started from zero again, at this level I would not celebrate and let myself relax, because the real danger here is the loss of hunger. At first you fight to survive, then for comfort, then you stop growing. That is why at the million level, the thing a person must protect is not his money, but his sharpness. 2 million, 5 million, and beyond is now another game. Here it is not muscle power but positional power that works. You do not work for money. When money starts to be used correctly, it works in your place. Here you begin to buy time. When you wake up one morning, you think not about your account, but about capital allocation. You think not about daily spending, but about the return profile. At this point, a person starts to become not only wealthy, but also strategic and planned. But this growth has a price. Your circle changes. Conversations change. The way people look at you changes. Some stop supporting you. Some try to pull you down. Some silently start to envy you. Because as you grow, their excuses become more visible. That is why the first thing a man who is becoming powerful must learn is how to be alone. A person addicted to attention cannot build great wealth. After $10 million, money is no longer just money. It is reputation, network, trust, and respect. All of these become financial tools. People look not only at what you have, but at what you represent. You sit at the right tables. You talk to the right people. Opportunities start looking for you. But this also has a cold side. As your decisions grow, their consequences move away from you. Some moves do not feel good, but can still be right. That is why the big game requires not only intelligence, but emotionality. Above 50 million, money no longer measures your value. It measures your impact. It shows how far you have reached, how many systems you have affected, and how big the decisions are that you are part of. But the ironic thing is this. At that level, money no longer carries an emotional meaning. Because the game stops being about growing the number and turns into building an order, you build a factory and the workers work. But the most important part of this whole story is not the end part. It is the beginning part, because everything starts in the same place. With a number in your account that looks ridiculous, with the product you put back at the market, with the first debt you try to close, with the first night you stopped yourself, with the first investment step you took, with the first small system you built. People envy the result but underestimate the process. That is the mistake. A $100 million life does not begin with a $100 million morning. It begins with discipline. It begins with control. It begins with controlling your emotions. It begins with enduring delayed gratification. It begins with doing the right thing again and again while nobody is watching. If you are sure of the road, you must always continue. So, if I went back to the past again, my advice to you would be to stop asking this question now. How do I make more money? Instead, I would ask this question. Am I becoming someone who can carry growing money? Because this is the truth. Money does not only grow in the account, a person grows with it too. But money that grows with weak character can corrupt a man. It causes power intoxication. Money that grows with strong character, however, gives a man options. And at the end of the game, the place everyone comes back to is the same. Discipline, patience, control, calmness, the power to keep going. Everything else is built on top of those.